in the last video, I talked about the stuff that we drag behind us and how it weights us down and tires us out at times. And at the beginning of that video, I showed an example of two sleds that I use in the winter time to haul gear as I'm out trekking across the land. One of the things that I learned on my first 80-mile trek with the sled is that after a while, the adrenaline runs out and your body starts to get tired, not just kind of physically tired, but emotionally tired as well. And on that first attempt and successful journey of 80 miles, I got to mile 64. And we stopped in this town of Birchwood, Wisconsin at a convenience store. I was tired, I was cold, I was exhausted, and I wanted to quit because my body had had enough. One of the things I did is I called a friend who had a lot of experience in trekking before, but now that I think of it, I didn't call him, I sent him a text message. Why? Because I didn't think he would be up and looking at his text messages. It wasn't a phone call. I wanted to tell him I had had enough. And sure enough, Rick, the person who I spoke about way when I started these videos, said to me, "Tim, sit, get something to eat, think about it, wait for the sun to come up, your attitude will change." And I took his advice. And sure enough, after a couple hours of waiting and reflecting and warming up and getting some calories in me, I decided to take off once again to make that final 16-mile trek back to Rice Lake, Wisconsin. But one of the things I realized during that final 16 miles was that my back hurt significantly. To start out with, yeah, I could go a half mile or so and my back would be terribly sore, and I would stop and stretch a bit and then continue on my trek. And my back continued to become more and more uncomfortable. And I would unhook my sled and pull it with my hand to give my back a rest. And it finally got to the point where I really wondered if I was going to make it back to Rice Lake, Wisconsin. My pace was miserable. My back was miserable. But I kept moving forward, and eventually I made it. One of the things I realized in that first journey of 80 miles was that there were other things I needed than physical strength and emotional energy. I read from the book of Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter, where the writer of this piece of wisdom says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to the one who is alone and falls and has not another to raise them up. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though one may prevail against another who is alone, two can withstand one. A threefold cord is not quickly broken." There is more than oneself in this journey of life. When I went on more winter treks, one of the things I learned to get, bought, and took with me, and now they're a part of hiking as well as winter events, are trekking poles. They help when the core strength is gone, and when you're tired and you begin to hunch over, and when you wonder if you can go any further distance, these trekking poles help sustain me in the hike. And it's not just trekking poles, it's people like Rick, who I sent a text to, who gave me support, who help on the journey when you're tired. And in some ways, not only physically, but maybe emotionally defeated. During this time of change, of COVID, of what is it that we're going to do next, and how is this going to be pictured, I invite you to find some trekking poles, not just the physical ones like this, but the relational ones. People who you trust, people who will support you, people who will listen to you. Maybe it's just one person, maybe it's two, but with the strength and compassion and listening support of others, the journey of life continues. Maybe when you're weak, their strength will help you keep moving. In the next journeys of my life, especially as I look forward to some winter trekking coming up and using those sleds once again, my trekking poles will go with me. And I as well will have people on the ready on my phone to send text messages to connect with, to help me continue on the journey. Two are better than one. Rely upon others. Ask for what you need, for others are there willing to help. May your journeys be meaningful and important and life-giving. Thank you once again for watching.